Yeah. Cold air, bright flame, hit a crest when we enter. When the crest covers, circle tight, we remember. Power in the whispers, protection in the spell. Ancient in our bloodline, yeah, we know it well. Strong minds, strong hearts, every sigil intentional. Love keeps us guarded, magic multi-dimensional. We rise together, no throne, no lone caster. Sisters and brothers, every spell cast faster. Ice in the wind, but the bonds stay warm. Through shadow and storm, we transform. This ain't fear, this is faith in motion. When the crest covered, strength, love, devotion.
This is the Winter Crest Podcast. I'm your host, Paul Abaya Rafu. Blessed be all friends. Today we have an interesting topic I wish to discuss, and it centers around the Kevin Hart fiasco as well as the Representative Pearson fiasco. We got to deal with the ugliness that surrounds us as human beings. And that ugliness stems from discrimination. Now, I am a black man who proclaims himself to be a witch. I'm part Native, mostly African, and I proclaim to be a witch. When people first see me, they don't see the witch. They see my native features and they see my African American skin tone. They see a black man. And all of the stereotypes, whether good or bad, percolate to the very forefront of their minds if they were to see me walking down the street. The first thing they're going to notice is the black man. Now, I do know that there's been an abundance of witch persecution in this world. Witches we are scorned against, talked about, and many facets of Christianity wish death upon us. Quoting the scripture that says, I wish that a witch should be dead, those that call upon witchcraft. I think the scripture says it like this: suffer not a witch to live. That's what it was. Suffer not a witch to live. So some of them want us dead. Now, if I chose to, I could hide the witchcraft. Now, I don't choose to, and I'm against those who does. I believe that if your craft is powerful, you shouldn't even be in a broom closet, and that's my personal opinion. You have the right to yours. But, I could hide being a witch. I could hide my pinnacle in my shirt. I could make sure that I don't have no pagan jewelry on. I can have a solitary practice where I practice alone and no one is around me and no one sees me, and it will be perfectly okay. There is no judgment from my God or goddess concerning how I choose to practice. And I can go into Walmart and Target and all these other places, and no one will discriminate against me for witchcraft. But if I show up black, then it's easy to be discriminated against. And this is why I have a very low tolerance to witches that are in the broom closet. Because you get to hide your minority membership. Whereas me, no, it's out there in the open. And whether you believe it or not, racism didn't go nowhere because we had a black president or because the Obamas, are popular or we got more black money in black communities. It is still very much so strong, and it's always been that way. many of the races that surround President Trump and others, they were alive when Jim Crow was here. Do we actually believe that they changed their opinions once Jim Crow was done away with? Is it far-fetched to believe that the racist people that were on CBS and NBC saying they need to save their schools from the contamination of black entrances, the racists that screamed at the poor children that were forced to go into white schools, are we to believe that these races all of a sudden saw the error of their ways, turn from their wickedness, and come to say, well, we love all the black people around? No, we can't believe that. That would be a fallacy. When those same racists see me, they are filled with hate. They're filled, and I hate it when politicians and others go around here and say that it's not what it used to be, especially when black people are still being hung from trees on the East Coast, especially when black people are receiving the brunt of police brutality, especially when the black economic situation is lower than the white economic structure, especially during that time. For you to tell me, Mr. Politician, Mr. Celebrity, that there's not a lot of white supremacy still running around, I have to believe that either you're the house nigger or you've been deceived. You've accomplished something in your life, whereas the masses of black people and native peoples, native peoples are still on plantations. Are you listening to me? That they have not accomplished. They have not had a fair share of goods and resources. So things have never been equal in America. Now, black people are a marvel because look at what we've accomplished with an uneven playing field. We've accomplished some great things. We built some beautiful churches. We have politicians in there. We've done great things with the deck stood against us. But please understand that the deck still stands against us. Now, hear me clearly. Before I'm a witch, I'm a black man. Now, I'm not preaching black power. I'm not doing that. I'm just saying the truth. When you first look at my face, you see a black man. And there's some people that go around saying that they don't see color. That's a damn lie. I understand the sentiment, but don't lie. You make it worse. How did you pick that car? Did you like its color? What about the outfit you're wearing? Did you like that outfit? I think black is a beautiful color. And I'm not against interracial relationships and interracial marriage. I have that in my own family. If that's what you like, you like. I know black men that like caramel skin. I have no problems with that. What I do have a problem with is the hypocrisy and all the play that's going around here saying that things are equal. They're not. And the only way, in my opinion, that they will ever be equal is if black people leave these messed up religions like Islam and Christianity and Judaism and get into some Haiti-style voodoo or hoodoo or African spirituality. It is the power of magic that can shave off the shackles of mental and physical oppression. That's my belief. That's my belief. Only through magic can men see each other as brothers and sisters, irregardless of skin color. Only magic does that. And having that been said, it's very obvious that many witches are not practicing that magic, because you got some witches that are white-skinned. I'm not talking about white witch, the calling. I'm talking about white witch, the ethnicity, who honestly feel better than those of us with black skin. And now there's some people who will have you believe that witchcraft is a European tradition, that it was started in Europe. And I've heard even witchcraft professors say that witchcraft is solely English, that nobody else had any magic except for England. What a goddamn lie. Now, no disparaging to the English witches. I love you. Some of you are in Wintercrest. Got no problems with that. I got problems with liars. Witchcraft has been known to every indigenous people from the founding of man, starting in Africa, moving to Mesopotamia. The early scriptures of Indus Valley, which was people of color, I don't care what they call you on the card, you Indian people, and I'm not talking about Native Americans, I'm talking about people from India. You are colored people. Some of y'all are darker than me. And that's where Indus Valleys and the Upanishads and the holy Vedic texts come from. And we got to deal with that shit too, because that last stage of life, the untouchable bullshit and stuff y'all got going on, y'all really got some fucked up whitewashery going on in your minds. That the lighter skinned Indian is better off than the darker skinned India. And you know, I mean, when we look at that, it perpetrates all over the world. In Mexico and Mexico, they call it making the race better. Even the Dominican Republican black people don't like being called black people. What the hell is wrong with the world? I believe every color is beautiful, and that caste system, and we will deal with that because it's some bullshit that y'all go to live by, that you think white is better, man, they really fucked up your minds. And we need to get them straight, especially in the pagan community. That's why y'all don't have no real power. What you have is bad acting. You get the sword, you look to the north, I call for you, God of the north, and do this messed up stage acting. And you think that shit is powerful. But no, powerful is using the craft to pay bills. Powerful is using the craft for full protection. Powerful is when your magic truly works for you against psychic attacks to heal people's bodies. When the magic is your solution and your answer. When you have funneled the very power of divinity through mortal vessels. That is magic, and only that. The other shit is recitations and arts and crafts. And that's what's going on a lot of YouTube channels. Y'all done bit off the bullshit, and you all about that. You all about the stuff, and your powers ain't working. So you have witches that keep diseases, and witches that keep problems, and witches that have bad relationships when you're supposed to be running the world. And then you got this thing running around here talking about witchcraft is bitchcraft. That's another thing we got to talk about. No, it's not. Witchcraft is witchcraft, fool. It is not bitchcraft. Witchcraft don't belong solely to women. There was men that was also persecuted in the Inquisitions, in the witch hunts, European and American, for the very same crimes the women were. And don't give me this bullshit about it was more women. Death is death, person. Death is death. So don't give me that crap. We were all persecuted. We were all going through suffering. You know, so the witchcraft is not the new center stage of feminism. That shit gotta go. Witchcraft is about the production of power in relation to commonalities amongst humankind and other type of beings of human type consciousnesses. And that's why Wintercrest is so important to have. So you can have people that come here and really learn what the craft really is. It's sad, and I got to visit this some more, but it is sad that the Word of Faith Christian Church do more witchcraft than the witch. That Creflo Dollar and Bill Winston and Kenneth Copeland, they're calling things into existence. They're getting their manifestations done. When the witches, all you got is a sword and an athame that don't cut nothing but you say energy. And I doubt very seriously if your impotent athame is cutting energy. And then we don't come together. And so I guess before we speak about the wider exterior of racism, we have to deal with this shit in the craft. Because I promise you, I am nowhere behind the whitest of witches. All right? I believe I am equal or better than Laura Cabot and all the others. You can't put me behind none of them. Raymond Buckland, Gerald Gardner, or none of the others. You can't do it, nor will I allow you to do it to me. You can talk about that powerless bullshit you do privately, but you sure as hell can't say that to us. And Black African American witches and those that are of the craft or magical persuasions, don't let it be done to you. We dealt with this shit in Christianity. When we see white Jesus up there, and we wanted to be white Jesus. We loved white Jesus. We honored white people more than we honored ourselves. But now we're coming full circle. And now, again, I'm not putting down white people. I believe white people can be just as magical as black people. But they're surely not the measuring stick. And if you're a white on here listening to me, if you're truly honest, we're still friends. If you're upset with what I'm saying, we were never friends anyway. And in the words of Lil Nas X, you were never rooting for me anyway. You weren't rooting for me anyway. So I don't give a damn what you think. Now, let me address this before time is up. That Kevin Hart nonsense. Kevin Hart is a house nigga. And I said to his face, he's a coon. And he's been filled with coonery all this time. There are certain black people you can buy out, just like there are certain witches you could buy out. These ex-witches that run to Christianity for $1, saying they were the high ex-black bride of Satan and stuff like that. That bullshit. And Christians are feeding it up, talking about, see, they're coming out of witchery and stuff. These people really weren't rooting for us anyway. Doreen Virtue and all them, y'all can have them. Okay? Y'all can have them. But there's a lot of stuff that's going on in-house that needs to be clean. And Kevin Hart, he proves that. What was said about George Floyd should have been stopped. Is that his name?
Yeah, I think so.
I believe I said that right. I call him George all this time. I have an Uncle George, and to me, when I saw what they did to my brother, it troubled me greatly. You surely shouldn't be making fun of it. Now, Kevin Hart said, well, they made fun of my dead mom and dad. Well, it shows what kind of weak man you are. Because you can't make fun of my living mama, let alone if she was dead. You ain't talking about my folks in my face. Now, I'm not a Will Smith fan, but I can understand some sentiments. Some things are just not funny. If you can't find a joke that don't involve putting somebody down, then you need to shut the hell up. See, most of these comedians were bastards in school. They were the troublemakers. And they wear that shit like it's a badge of honor. They go around here saying, yeah, the teachers couldn't do nothing with me. Is this the role model? Now, I'm not saying all comedians. Don't get your panties in a bunch. I'm saying most of them. Most comedians were troublemakers in school. They couldn't pass the test, so they made fun of the ones who could. There are some deep psychological problems with many comedians. They ain't just killing themselves for no reason. They ain't just sprung out on drugs and alcohol for nothing. They got some problems. So when you deal with these type of jokes, why do you think that you need to push the envelope? Who made you the god of sanity where you need to push the envelope? See, this is insane. Some stuff is not funny. And some stuff shouldn't be laughed at. You making evil jokes about witchcraft, the stuff is not funny to me. It's not funny. Especially when you don't understand what witchcraft is. So Kevin should have stood up. He was wrong. I hadn't liked him for a long time because I thought his comedy was always demeaning toward black people and toward men in particularly. And then the stuff with Representative Pearson, when he said Christianity was twisted and that's how they got slavery. That was such a lie. That is Christianity. Christianity is synonymous to slavery. The God of the Bible gives instructions on how to purchase, maintain, and sell slaves. Even in the New Testament, Jesus tells you how to beat slaves. The slave that does wrong will be beat with many stripes. A black Christian is someone, like Chris Rock said, that have lost their memory. Christianity all the way through this book is about slavery. God even says through the prophets, if you don't obey me, I will send the Babylonians to put you in slavery. Who's sending them? Their God. And what is his weapon of choice? Slavery. He said it to Moses. If you don't obey me, I'm going to put these things that I put upon the Egyptians upon you, and you will be slaves to other men. The idea of slavery comes from Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Now hear me. This is why I have problems with magicians who follow Kabbalah. Now, I know there's a lot that do. Elphias Levi did. Dion Fortune did. I know there's Aleister Crowley to a certain extent. Edward Kelly. I know the history, but I think they were deceived. And these people have done great things magically, and you cannot denounce their contributions to magic. But they too can be deceived. They too can be. And I believe that there is no power in Kabbalah. I understand the tree. I understand the seraphs. I understand what you're saying. But it's a system devised by clever men. I'm a chaos magician. I believe that sheer belief can surpass, formulas and systems. And I'm not disparaging those things. I'm disparaging anything that has to do with Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. So am I saying that there's nothing good with these religions? I'm saying there's very little if you can find anything. If those religions was a chef, I would say don't eat. If those religions were a chauffeur, don't get in the car. If those religions were a pilot, Find another plane. There is danger there. Christianity was devised in 325 AD on the back of Judaism. The Orthodox Jews who know the Torah and the Talmud better than the average religious person believe that every Gentile is supposed to be their slave. That's the teaching of their God. And if it's your teaching that your God wants me to either be your slave or dead, I got problems with you and your God. Because damn it, I don't plan to do either. Islam and Christianity follow suit. These are family religions. The Muslims was just as responsible for chattel slavery as the Jews were. And Christianity propagated. The Pope just apologized to black people for slavery. Where's the reparations, Rome? Because you should put up what you messed up. At one time, the Pope said that black people didn't have souls, that we were the children of the devil. This is what Christianity firmly believed. And it wasn't just the Romans, it was also the Church of Latter-day Saints. Joseph Smith believed that black people were evil. That's why our skin color is black, and we wear this on our skin. You should not be any black person that's a part of any of these things is foolish. You need to go back home to African spirituality and to the roots of magic. True magic equalizes the playing field. True magic will not allow you to feel subjugated to no one. True magic will give you your voice. True magic will put boldness in your tongue. True magic will put clarity in your mind when it's true. But this bullshit on social media, get 2 pinches of salt and 3 steps back with no faith and no strength to it. Well, that's a bunch of crap. True magic can set you free like it did Haiti. Well, this has been the Wintercrest podcast, and it was a little heavier than what I was expecting it to be. But you can best believe I have a lot more to say on this subject. Once again, if you're white and you're listening to me, no, I don't have no hatred toward you. I see you as my brother and sister. If you're really my brother and sister, I believe all people come from Africa. But needless to say, if you think that you're better than me, if you think that you're greater than me, then I got 2 words for you. Fuck you. And the same goes with any Negroes or black people or whatever you're calling yourself these days. Same goes for you. So as I conclude, blessed be to all of my friends. Cursed be to my enemies.
Yeah. Cold air, bright flame, hit a crest when we enter. When the crest covers circle tight, we remember. Power in the whispers, protection in the spell. Etching in our bloodline, yeah, we know it well. Strong minds, strong hearts, every sigil intentional. Love keeps us guarded, magic multi-dimensional. We rise together, no throne, no lone caster. Sisters and brothers, every spell cast faster. Ice in the wind, but the bonds stay warm. Through shadow and storm, we transform. This ain't fear, this is faith in motion. When the crest covered, strength, love, devotion.